Hello beautiful people, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to cut and sew this simple and beautiful kimono dress. This is actually for a big size. If you're new to my channel, please click on the subscribe button below and also turn on the notification bell so as to be notified each time I upload new video. Like and share my videos and also check out my other videos. Thank you for stopping by. I love you guys. So today we're making a kimono dress and I made use of 2 yards of fabric. This is 1 yard and 1 yard. So we are cutting the front and the back together and they are both on fold. Okay, so I made use of 2 yards of fabric. The front is 1 yard, the back is 1 yard. Okay, so you fold your fabric into two. I decided to fold separately because of some people that complain about me folding together, that she wants me to fold separately. So here I am marking the length that I want for the dress. Okay, so we are working with 41 and then I added sewing allowance of 2 inches, folding allowance, sorry, of 2 inches. So I marked 43. Okay, so that is where I want my shoulder to start. Okay, so the shoulder I'm working with is 16 divided by 2, which is 8, plus 8" for the sleeve. Okay, making it 16. So if you want, you can place your tape at your back neck bone and then measure down to where you want your sleeve to end, or you could just take your shoulder measurement and then take your sleeve length. Okay, so mine is 16 from the back neck down to where her sleeve will end is 16. Then I added 1.5 inch for folding allowance. Okay, because we're going to be folding this, not turn up. Okay, so the neck width I made use of is 4 inches. Okay, 4 inches, and then there I went up by 1 inch like so. And then I'm going to draw a straight line connecting the 1 inch I go up by to the 4 inch for the neck width. Okay, so here I'm going to come down by 1 inch and then I'll connect there to this 1 inch I mark upward here. Okay, this is for the neck to sit, or the shoulder to sit properly on your neck. Okay, so guys, don't worry, the chalk is not really showing, but I'm still going to do a close view, okay, for you guys to see. So I went up here by 1 inch, and then my neckline for the front I use 5 inches deep, and then the back is 1 inch depth. Okay, so I'm going to connect to that 1 inch I went up to here like so. So let me kind of zoom the camera small if you guys should be seeing it a little, but like I said earlier, I'm going to still do a close view. Okay, so I marked the neckline of 4 inches. I went up from that 4 inches by 1 inch, and then where the sleeve is going to end, I came down by 1 inch to mark my shoulder slants. Okay, so this is the 4 inches. I'm trying to use a blue chalk so that you guys should see it. And then I'm going to I marked 1 inch for my back neckline, and then 5 inch for the front neck depth. Okay, so I'll connect this, and then I slanted my shoulder like so down to the 1 inch I marked downward. Okay, so now I'm going to connect my neckline up to that point like so. This is for the back. You connect up to the 1 inch you mark upward. Okay, this is for the back and this is for the front. You connect up to the 1 inch also. Okay, like I said earlier, this method is for the shoulder to relax very well on your shoulder. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to mark the waist line, which is 18, and then from that waistline I'm going to mark 8 inches downward for her hip. Okay, so this is 18 here for the waist, and I'm going to connect that with a straight line. Before then, I'm going to mark the 18 here also so as to get a straight line. Okay, so I'm going to connect that like so, and then from that waistline here I came down by, I'm trying to make the chalk clear. So I'm going to mark my sleeve opening. So I'm using 10 inches, okay? So it's 9 inch, but I added 1 inch for sewing allowance. So what I marked is 10 for my armhole, okay? That's going to serve as my armhole and also my bust line, okay? So from here I'm going to mark 8 inches downward for 9 inches, sorry, for the hip, okay? So you can use 9 inch or 8 inch depending on your client's height, okay? And then the next thing I'm going to do now is to take my circumference. So her bust is 45. So 45 divided by 4 plus 1 inch for ease and 1 inch. Okay, this is 45 divided by 4 plus 1 inch for ease and 2 inches for sewing allowance. You can use less, okay, but she wanted more allowance in case, because I think she's pregnant or so. All right, so her waist divided by 4, her waist is 39, so I'm dividing it by 4, and then I'll mark that's what I got here, and then mark 1 inch for sewing allowance for ease and 2 inch for sewing allowance, okay? So for the hip is 46. I'll mark divide by 4, then 1 inch for ease and 2 inch for sewing allowance. So for the hip, for the hemline, I'm going to minus 2 inches from my hip, from her hip, and then I will mark that there, okay? I minus 2 inches, okay? So you can minus 1 inch if you don't want it to be tight. So I minus 2 inches from her hip, and then I marked there. So you're gonna connect like so. Okay, so I'm connecting the lines. Down to the hemline, okay? You connect down to the hemline. All right. So let's work on the armhole. I'm going to take my sleeve measurement there on that bust point so as to get the accurate place to draw my line. So it's 16 inches. Remember, we're working with 16 inches. So I'm going to mark that here. And then I'll also add 1.5 inch for the sewing allowance. Remember, that is what we added to the shoulder, okay? Then I'm going to connect like so. All right. Earlier, so here I'm going to go in by 1/2 inch because I don't want my armhole area or my sleeve to be straight, so I want it to be a little bit slanted. So I went in by 1/2 inch and then I slanted it like so, and then here at the armhole I'm going to mark 1 inch like so, and then I'm to enable me get a nice curve. So guys, I just dropped this pattern because I want to use my free hand to do it. So I just draw a curve straight like this, okay? Just curve it like so, like 2 inches downward like this, okay? You could just measure it 1 inch like so, and then you curve. So where your curve is going to stop, you could just mark 2 inches here like this, okay? So you just curve it down there. All right, so for a recap, okay, for my shoulder here, I marked 16 inches for my shoulder, 8 inches for my shoulder and 8 inches for the sleeve, and then I added 2 inches for sewing allowance, making it 18, okay? So here I marked 4 inches for my neckline. I went up by 1 inch, connected my neckline up to that 1 inch and also the front neckline up to that 1 inch, all right? Okay, and then here at the sleeve end I came down by 1 inch for my shoulder slant, okay? I came down by 1 inch for my shoulder slant. I connected it up to the 1 inch here at the neckline, and then here I marked the same 18 inches at the bust line or the sleeve or armhole line. Okay, so I went in by half an inch because I want a slanted sleeve, not straight. And then here I marked 1 inch and 2 inches downward to be able to curve my armhole. All right, and then I connected everything down to the hemline. So now I'm going to cut. First of all, cut out your back neckline, then you cut your front. Okay, don't go and cut the front and the back together, or cut the front separate. Okay, so now we are going to cut the facing for the back, and this is how I folded my fabric into two, like so, and then I place the material or the dress, the back panel, like so, and then I'm going to just trace the neck. Okay, so I'm going to trace the neckline now. Make sure you're cutting your facing on fold, just like this one. Okay, so I'll just kind of trim this to the shape I want. So you can make your facing length 4 inches, okay, or 5 inches. Let it not be more than 4 inches or 3 inches, okay, so that it will not be flying out, even though you're still gonna kind of use needle and thread to tack it or use hemming gum on it. Okay, so this is how I'm gonna place it, like so, and then I'll sew the neckline. Okay, so we're gonna come to that later. So let's cut the front panel facing. So I'm using another color of fabric for that, and I also folded my fabric into two, just like the back panel, and then I'm going to trace out the neckline. Okay, so you align your neck properly, and then I left like 0.5 inch before here, this place I'm pointing, I left 0.5 inch there. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys what I mean, because I opened the facing into two and then I stitch it back. So let me show you. Like you see now, here I left 0.5 inch, so the facing is a little bit bigger than the dress. So I'm going to trace the neck line now. So this point is just for joining of the facing, because I opened it, I cut it into two, and then I joined it back again just to get a nice shape. Okay, so here I'll be marking 4 inches all around. Sorry, I used 2 and 3 inches all around, half inch for folding up down and half inch for turning the neckline. So the facing width is 2 inches. Okay, so you mark 3 inches all around, like so, following the shape of the neckline, and then you connect like so, and then you cut out. All right, so now I'm going to cut it out. Okay, so guys, I'm going to notch my waistline, because that to enable me to know where to put my pocket. So I notched the waistline. All right, so this is the back panel. I'm going to place my facing like so, right side facing right side of the dress. Okay, so before then I'm going to use gum on it. I'm going to use gum stay or interfacing, whichever one you call it. So, and then I'll stitch the neck and flip it over to the back side. I'm going to show you that when I do. So this is what I'm talking about. Okay, I iron the gum stay on it, and I also stitch the down part of my facing. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is to trim out the excess at the facing, and then I will notch the neckline to enable me turn easily. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to flip it up, and then later I'll use hemming gum to hold it down, or I use my needle and thread just to tack it down so that it will not be flying out. As you can see, it's small. Okay, the facing is small. So I'm going to tack this down or use hemming gum, okay, and then give it a good press. All right. So this is the front panel. As I told you, I slitted it, I opened it, and then I joined it back again. This is the 0.5 I left for that, and then I also gum it with an interfacing, okay. And then I'm going to place it right side facing the wrong side of the dress. So you can fold this place with your iron like this. You fold it all around with your iron, but this material is stretchy, so it's not that easily foldable, so I didn't do that. I'm just going to fold it on the when sewing. So you place right side and sew the neckline, and then you flip it over after you notch, okay, just like we did to the back. You flip it over after you notch, and it's going to be like this after you flip it over, and then you just fold this place. Just fold this place and stitch it down round. Fold with 1/2 inch that you added, and then you stitch it round. Just fold like this, and then you stitch. So if your fabric can be ironed when you fold, it's better to iron so that it will be easy for you to just run a straight stitch down round it, okay. But because this fabric is stretchy, so I just fold when sewing. So this is the pocket, is 11 inches wide, and then 1/2 inch for sewing for the both side, and 14 inches long, 1 inch for folding the down and 1 inch for folding the up. So the pocket length is 12 plus 2 inches, and then the width is 10 plus 1 inch, 1/2 inch for folding out the other side. So here at the waistline where I notched, I came down by 2.5 inch, okay. And then I'm going to place my pocket. I went in by like 3 inches. Remember, I added 2 inches for sewing allowance, okay. So I went in by 3 inches in order to place my pocket. So you could just do any shape you like, just play with it. Any shape, any side you want to place your pocket is fine. All right, so this is the front panel. I am done stitching it like I showed you. So I notched the neckline, then I stitch around like so here, okay. All right, so and I've also joined the pocket. I folded the both side everywhere. You fold round the pocket, okay. So this is the pocket. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is to join the two shoulders together. All right, the back panel and the front panel together. So I have not really hold this one down, so after joining I'm going to do that. So I'm going to trim out this excess, okay. So I'm going to sew the shoulder round like so with 1/2 inch, join the shoulder with 1/2 inch, and this other side too, okay. Here you also join the shoulder with 1/2 inch. All right, and then you fold the sleeve. Remember, we added 2 inches for the sleeve. So I have joined the shoulder and I have also folded the sleeve, okay. I've also folded the sleeve. All right, as you can see is 1 inch, so I folded in 1/2 inch, okay. Sorry, I added 1.5 inch for the sleeve sewing allowance, okay. So I folded in 1/2 inch and then sew, okay. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to join the two dresses together. So to do that, remember we just added 2 inches, so you just mark whatever sewing allowance you added, because we did not turn this one with lining, so that you say that I don't know how much my lining have taken. So just mark your sleeve circumference plus 1 inch, okay. And then you just mark the sewing allowance you added. Remember we added 2 inches, okay. So I'm just going to mark that down and then connect like so and sew down. Okay, and I'll do the same on the other side, and that is all for this tutorial. Okay, and then I also hem the down part. That's all. Thank you guys for watching. This is the final result. See you in my next video. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share my videos. Love you guys. Bye.